I was 12 and kind of just thrown into the whole business side of things, not knowing what was going on. I didn't even know who I was yet as a person, let alone like an artist. So I was just working with every single person you could think of, just kind of going through the motions, letting them tell me what to sound like, and because I didn't know how it went down. And I remember walking into a meeting and with some people who were pretty high up at the record label and stuff, and they're playing like these music videos of other artists who are kind of like more revealing with their clothing choices. And I remember being so confused. Like I'm only 13. I'm walking into this kind of like, well, like why are you playing these videos? Like, do you want me to look like that, or am I supposed to? Is this what you're supposed to do to make it? Like, are you trying to tell me something? All these thoughts were going through my head, and I remember that was the moment when I remember thinking like this, me and I mean my family too. I'm so thankful they had my back through all of it, but it was just one of those moments where okay, this doesn't feel right. Like we need to take a step back and really see what's going on here and not just rush into things because it just didn't feel right. So I think where that line comes from is kind of looking back on that moment and realizing how far I've made it without compromising myself or my beliefs or what I wear. Like I could still do sold out shows without changing anything about myself. So I think that's where that line comes from.
So you collaborated with Ed Sheeran on the album. And you opened for him at Madison Square Garden. So just a quick question. What was it like stepping on the stage at Madison Square Garden?
It went by so fast.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be really nervous. And I was before. I'm nervous before all my shows, but it's like a good kind of nervous, like just like the little butterflies that get you excited, So, oh, you guys have butterflies right now? I have butterflies. I was definitely nervous just because it felt like such a surreal thing, like Madison Square Garden, and I hadn't had an album out. I wasn't even at that level or anything. So I was really honored that he had me open for him, and it was crazy because I remember just seeing like a sea of lights, and I wasn't as nervous when I saw that because it almost seemed fake until at all my shows I get a video of the crowd and they turn the lights on. And I was like, okay, you can turn it back on. People. So, but it was cool. I guess me and Ed were the first people to do sold out Madison Square Garden just acoustically. Wow. So yeah.
So the track on the album, I Was Made for Loving You, with Ed, it's such a romantic song. How did that process work? Did you guys, was it like text messages? Were you in the studio together all the time?
That was the first time we met when we wrote that song. So he came straight from doing some show and just like came over to the studio. And I had been a fan of his for a while, so I was kind of like, whoa, you're Ed Sheeran. And but he was super easy to write with. Like he had a lot of ideas already, and he came up with the guitar part first, and then we just started writing over the top of that. And for a while it was like, okay, this is cool. Like this is a cool song. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone, a little more like on the folk side, which was awesome. I love that. But there was a moment in the session where it just all clicked, I think, because up until that point it was like, okay, this it's a chill song, whatever. But once it was like a random thing where he started like pacing around the room, and then he's like, wait, I got it, and I was like, what? And then we just switched around all these parts, and that's when we knew we had a really special song.
Awesome.
And we got to produce it together too, which was pretty cool.
So Flair is a fashion magazine, so let's talk about style.
Okay.
What do you like to wear? How would you describe your style?
Like looking.
You look pretty fly right now. So.
I'm pretty simple. I like very understated types of things. I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, jeans and a t-shirt with jewelry. Like I try to stay away from heels as much as I can. I like to be comfortable.
So when you're performing, do you switch it up and, you know, make it a little extra?
Yeah, for sure. On stage, I think there's kind of a button that gets pressed where it's like, okay, you're going to be on stage now, so maybe like, you know, bump it up a little bit and not go out there in your pajamas, which is, maybe I'll do that one day because I have goals. But yeah, I definitely, I'll you know, rock heels, or I still have to be comfortable though. I hate being uncomfortable in my clothes. That's like the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm still like experimenting with things on stage. It's fun to switch it up.
Cool. You know, as one curly-haired girl to another. Thanks. Of course, I need to know what's in your hair.
Secrets. Yeah, that's where we hide secrets. Yeah, exactly. She said that's why it's so big. I put a lot of random products in. One of my favorites is called Weedad.
Weedad.
Yeah, I bet you know all this already. Weedad is good, and Oribe is good as well. And I think the trick though is like when it's wet, I don't towel dry. I do like a t-shirt. You know the t-shirt
Yeah,
trick?
it has like a name, doesn't it? I can't remember.
I call it the t-shirt trick. Yeah. And all this is on my Pinterest too, by the way.
Check the hair board for sure.
But I diffuse it. I flip it over and diffuse it, and that's kind of how it gets big. Yeah.
Have you ever felt pressure to have straight hair?
Oh yes, absolutely. I didn't start wearing my hair curly until about 6th grade, because before that I actually had straight hair. If you see like pictures of me in kindergarten, it was really straight, and it started to get this weird like half wave thing going on, and so I just slicked it back, or I straightened it every day because that's what all the other girls were doing. So I was like, I'm not gonna wear my hair curly, you know. I was really nervous. So 6th grade picture day, I woke up late and didn't have time to do my usual hair routine. And so my mom, who has curly hair as well, she was like, oh, okay, we'll just put all this in it, we'll diffuse it. Like, she kind of helped me, and I got all these compliments when I went to school. And it was just cool to see that I could just rock like what God naturally gave me instead of like forcing something else. And I got a lot more confidence after that. So since then, I've just rocked it curly.
So I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of Twitter questions from your fans. Let's see. Here's a good one. This is from Love Michaela, and she says, what's the most emotional... Are you here? Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So your question, as you know, was what's the most emotional song to perform for you?
Most emotional song... That's tough. I feel like I'm very emo. I feel like I'm emotional, like all of them. I guess, because there's happier songs in the album too. I think Funny gets me pretty emotional.
Yes, girl.
What's the song that gets you most emotional?
Yes.
City Note gets me emotional actually. Yeah. It changes. I think at shows it just kind of depends on the moment.
Cool. And this is from Fatima, whose handle is Fats. She wants to know.
No?
Not here. If you could relive a memory, what would it be? Mine is listening to your music for the first time.
Aww.
Sweet.
That's the sweetest thing ever. Oh my gosh. If I could relive a memory, I would go probably way back to when I was just like a little girl running around with her Elmo doll and just like singing around the house. It would be cool to actually realize to watch, I think, the little version of yourself. Do you think that would be cool?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know anything yet. You have so much time. Yeah.
You're gonna love your curly hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we have time for one more? One more. Okay. Oh, this is a good
I
one.
want to hang out longer.
Same. Please.
Just cancel that show.
Beautiful day in Toronto.
It is a beautiful day.
So this is from at Chris Evsons. And this question is, are there any artists you would love to collab with in the future? Which reminds me of that Timbaland Instagram. He was really into it.
Timbaland would be amazing to work with. Maybe like next album or something. It'd be really cool. Oh yeah. I mean, I was like Justin Timberlake would be cool too. Both Justins. Why not? Yeah, sure. On one track.
That girl has ideas.
That's an idea.
That is an idea.
I'd be down. To throw it back a little bit, I've always thought it'd be cool to collab with Lenny Kravitz.
Yes.
I just keep putting it out there, and maybe he'll hear me or something. If you're free, I don't know. Collab. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tori. Thank you. Thanks to you guys. And you can watch this interview on Flare.com in a couple of weeks. So just keep checking our Twitter at Flare Fashion. And thanks again to Tori Kelly. Thank you. Say hi.